To another country severely affected and implicated in this conflict. The Israeli military has launched a fresh wave of airstrikes targeting Hezbollah positions in southern Beirut. The Israel Defense Forces confirmed that they are hitting Hezbollah infrastructure in the Dayer area, a stronghold of the group. Meanwhile, the Lebanese Prime Minister Nawaf Salam has raised alarms about a looming humanitarian disaster. He warned that mass evacuations ordered by Israel have led to widespread displacement, particularly from the southern suburbs of Beirut and southern Lebanon, areas heavily controlled by Hezbollah. Salam told foreign ambassadors that the situation could lead to unprecedented humanitarian and political consequences. Thousands of residents are fleeing these areas as the region faces growing instability from the ongoing conflict. Joining us now to discuss all the developments coming out of today is Mohammed Khatibi, a Middle East affairs expert. He joins us live from Tehran. Thank you so much, Mohammed, for joining us here on the broadcast. It's a great pleasure to talk to you from the Iranian capital. We've just listed all the developments over the past day. There are, of course, plenty more coming. However, joining us from the Iranian capital, as this war ticks over into its second week, what is the feeling of the American people? Whereabouts are you situated in Tehran? Have you been hearing some of the damage caused there by the predominantly Israeli strikes that have been conducted in the heart of it?
Thanks for having me. I have been hearing many noises and many explosions from the morning, and a nearby neighborhood of ours was hit with airstrikes, and I think that several people have been killed and injured. The airstrikes are continuing despite being a week or so, and the Israeli strikes are now not just targeting the military sites, but the civilian areas inside Tehran, and there are no notice beforehand when Israel carries out these strikes. The United States and Israel are targeting smaller military bases, police stations, Basij headquarters, and everything related to the Iranian government. The United States and Israel thought that if the leader of Iran is assassinated, their state will collapse. But as we are seeing right now, this has not happened yet, and the people, many people, gather in the main squares of Tehran daily, day and night, to support the state, and they are urging the government to retaliate and not back down. Many people now have left Tehran because of the airstrikes, but I don't think that this will continue, and people may come back to Tehran. So the situation right now is really tense, and people are furious about the United States and Israel's attack on civilian areas. There is no safe place right now in Tehran, and at any moment it can be hit. I'm not sure if, as I'm doing live, I will be get hit or not, and this is really intense.
Well, Mohammed, I'm very glad that you're in a safe spot right now. Within the first couple of days, of course, the announcement was made that the supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, had been killed. The United States, as well as other world media agencies, reported that there were celebrations on the streets of Tehran hearing the news of that. If so, as the conflict goes into its second week and explosions still continue, civilians are still reported to be getting killed, how has that mood changed, if at all, from the start over the past 7 days to today?
So the Western media depicts the diaspora more than what is happening right now in Iran. And the celebrations inside Iran were relatively small, and compared to the pro-government rallies, and also the gray zone or the neutral people who don't care about who will be the leader or no. They are against any attack by United States and Israel. And despite what Trump claims and what Netanyahu claims, no one in Iran wants a foreign entity to rule Iran or dictate its will on Iranian people. The Iranian people are the ones who should decide for themselves. And this is really clear about the will of the people of Iran, and the civilians are being killed, and this was not the things that anyone wanted in Iran. And this attack has brought people together to fight back United States and Israel. As I said, the plan is to divide Iran into 3 or 4 smaller states, and the Israeli side is actively pursuing this. And the United States, as in the news, is starting to provide weapons and training to Kurdish separatists. And this is not just for the Kurdistan region. There are many other separatist groups inside Iran which are now have become more active. And this is the reason that the United States attacked Iran. It wants a smaller, more controllable Iran and a divided Iran. Iranians know this and they are fighting against it. And this is why the regime has not collapsed yet, because there is a great support for the state.
What is the political divisiveness like in Tehran right now? As you've mentioned, those protests, which of course saw thousands and thousands of people take to the streets throughout all the provinces of Iran, saw thousands of people killed in the country. But in terms of appetite for a new regime, is that there from the majority of people? We of course saw a vocal amount of people come out on the streets at the start of 2026. But in reality there, on the ground, what is the situation now that Khamenei is dead?
So about the protests in January, I should say that that protest started because of the cost of living problems, and that was hijacked by Israel and United States clearly, because former and current officials told that the Mossad agents are besides the protesters. And I know that many people are angry with the government, and that's true, because the living situation is really just for ordinary citizens, but everyone is dealing with cost of living problems. And this is not just because of the government or its failure to rule, but because of the US sanctions and the US pressure on Iranian economy. So the people have economic grievances, and because of that, they took to the streets to protest. But soon this was hijacked by some violent people, and there was a call from opposition groups outside of the country, including Reza Pahlavi, which urged people to act violently. Violence never seen before. The protests in January was really violent. No Iranian have seen such violence in recent history, because people burned supermarkets, they burned banks, they maimed people.
Mohammed,
and
of course, apologies to interrupt. 30,000 people were killed. Some are saying that that's a low estimate figure. If it did start in terms of the severity of the cost of living, it surely transpired into something much more than that. We saw images of the supreme leader being burnt. We saw, of course, an internet blackout, which remains partially in place across the country. Are you saying that it is only due to the Israeli and the American interception that the
No,
protests
it's
got in the
not
way
only
that they did?
because of the Israel. No, I'm not trying to say that it's only because of the United States and Israel. As I said, people want some change in the government, but saying that all people in Iran are wanting a regime change is false and inaccurate, because the people who took to the streets are not the majority of Iranians. If that was the case, the regime would have collapsed back in January. The crackdown, or what so many people are saying, and they are announcing 30,000 or more, does not have a factual basis, and many anti-Iranian propaganda channels and Trump are suggesting high numbers, but without providing any proof. Okay. And Iran's government have issued 33,000 people who were killed, and that number may be a little bit higher, but the issue is that no one other than the government has been able to provide names and identities of those who killed. And if that was the case, the other people like Trump or the anti-Iranian propaganda channels should have provided names and identities of those who were killed. Okay. 30,000 people in 2 days is really much. And I think that the reason is to compare this to the genocide in Gaza. Right. And Israel and the United States are trying to use these numbers as a reason to attack civilian areas right now in Iran.
Okay, Mohammed, do stay with us. Thank you very much.